Welcome to Base to Base Military Homeschooling, the podcast sponsored by Military Homeschoolers Association. It is designed specifically for military homeschoolers navigating the unique challenges of educating our children while moving to new communities every 2 to 3 years. I'm your host, Natalie Mack, and I know firsthand the challenges and rewards of homeschooling while on the move. So where in the large world of military homeschooling are we today? Listen in to our incredible guests. Hello. So I am Natalie Mack, and I'm the founder of Military Homeschoolers Association, and we are here for another episode of Base to Base Military Homeschooling. And I have an amazing guest here, someone that I've known for, I guess, about 2+ years, at least, maybe 3 years. I don't know. We lost track. So, and I would love for her to just share a little bit about herself, her family, and we're going to have just a lot of fun in this conversation. So you all get ready for some fun. Go ahead and get going with your intros, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Rita Roberts. I'm so glad to be here today with Miss Natalie Mack on Base to Base. I am a veteran homeschool mom, a veteran military spouse of 32 years.
32!
My spouse just retired in October of 2024, and I couldn't be so righteously happy about that. We have 3 children. My oldest is 20. My youngest is 14. We have moved 7 times by my count, but I have lost track of all of the workups and deployments. I know somebody somewhere in the DoD has that, but I don't remember that at all. It's blurred together. We like to say the major deployments. You can count how many we had, about how many kids we had, but I know it's been more than that. It's a lot more than that. So
I love it. I love it. I want to shout her out as well. You'll see her under her name. You see Military Homeschoolers Resources Manager. So she does serve on our amazing board, Military Homeschoolers Association. So we'll chat a little bit about what Rita brings to the table, which is so amazing. So get ready. And definitely, we are excited that you're joining us. If you're watching later, the replay, obviously, because this actually, it will just be the recording. I'm thinking I'm live, Rita, already. There will be a recording you'll be watching, but please comment and consider subscribing and sharing our episodes. We are here to support our fellow male homeschoolers. So I was laughing, Rita, because like in homeschool world, many people know about the writing program IEW, right? And yes. I joke and laugh with my family all the time, and you can only joke with homeschoolers about this, but you said ridiculously, right? And I heard LY, and I'm thinking that is such an awesome LY word. So IEW talks about the LY words, the adverbs. Yes.
Well, maybe I misused it. I'm sorry, Anthony Padua. I'll shout him out. But I am ridiculously and righteously happy. I'm just going to say that. So
ridiculously happy. I added the ridiculously. I think you did say righteously.
Yeah.
LY, and it was I was like, oh, you're right. Yeah, righteously and ridiculously happy. And so we probably should talk at some point about the retired life, right? And
absolutely,
just that piece. And if we don't cover a lot of it this episode, we can definitely get into it on another episode and bring you back on. So, gosh, so many things. And before we got started the recording, we were talking, and it's just so many things that you and we have in common. And I know that one of the purposes of our podcast is to center our efforts on military homeschooling and the life that we live. And so it is my hope, as well as I know the rest of the board's hope, is that everything we do, from resources such as this base to base to our content and newsletters and all the things, right? Our partnership efforts, our resources, and everything that we are doing, we're really focusing on the military homeschooler. So I'm excited because Base to Base plays such a important role in all that we're doing. And so
I love Base to Base. You've had so many amazing guests.
yeah, all the guests have been super amazing. And make sure if you haven't listened to the other episodes, definitely go back and take a peek. There are some amazing guests there to listen to and learn about what they offer and just everything. And so I heard 7 PCSs, and this last one was retirement, right? Was your retirement PCS?
Yes. And
right?
that was absolutely the hardest one. And for some strange reason, maybe because we're getting older, or maybe because we had such big changes in Transcom in the last couple of years. But it was absolutely the hardest. And it was from Florida to Texas, not our longest, not our largest, but yeah, it was interesting.
Wow. Yeah. And so that retirement PCS, a lot of times families don't, like, as you're relocating around through your active duty life, most families land at a place where they're like, oh, I can see us retiring here. Like, I like it here. And then you PCS a couple of more times and you are at another place where, oh, this feels good too. Maybe we could retire here. So for you, where was home for you? And was it Texas where you are now, or?
Wow, that's a more loaded question than it seems like, right? So yeah, when we're moving around, we find those places that we kind of sync with after a while, maybe not initially, but then when you're about 2, if you got an extension 3 years in and you say, oh, I really figured this place out, and then you got to move, right? And so for us, one of our first moves was from Texas to Virginia, and we lived a couple of different places, actually 3 different places in Virginia. We lived in Chesapeake, we lived in Hampton twice. But he was a global war on terror veteran, right? So he was gone a lot. And I bought a house that was way too much for us when we were young because I didn't want to rent anymore. And it was a project house I worked on for 12 years.
Wow.
And while he deployed and deployed and deployed and deployed, the Navy, ma'am, it just keeps you busy, right? So
those ships are going in and out, in and out.
So we did that. And so by the time we moved back, when I think our second had been born and then our third was born there, they had some pivotal years there. So they kind of feel like that's home, right?
Yeah.
Other places. And so they just kind of feel like this is home for me. And then we moved to what was our home. But in reality, when you think about it, we lived longer in Virginia than when we left Texas when we were young adults. We live longer other places. So what is home?
Yes.
Those decisions, I think, are family decisions, and it's based a lot on necessity. Like for us, it was retirement income. We have families still here. What are the benefits that can be reaped by living in a certain place? Are there college or career benefits for living in a certain place?
Right.
So I think it's very personal, but we're so blessed in some ways that we have experienced those moves. I mean, I didn't look at it that way then.
Yes, right. Yes, I know. It's just one more move and all. So, so how was though moving though for you? Were you always like anticipating relocating and kind of feeling like, oh, this is a new place, a new start? Or was it, oh gosh, we have to get adjusted again, or a little combination of both maybe?
Oh my gosh, for me, it was terrifying, especially when I was younger. You're moving away from support systems that you've known all your life.
Yeah.
You're moving away from family, you're moving away from friends, your job, right? So all those things to me, I was, especially in my younger years, change averse, right? Which you cannot be in the military. They either shake it out of you.
Yeah.
Or you learn to deal somehow.
Yeah.
So it was terrifying. And I think there was a good period of time when just looking for jobs was a full-time job for me. And I at one point took 2 jobs, you know, and those kinds of things happen, and you know, you just do. But yeah, it was pretty terrifying. I think the first major move we made was a do-it-yourself move, a Diddy move,
Yeah.
and I drove the U-Haul, and the steering was loose, and it was
Oh,
he drove the truck in front, I drove the U-Haul, and it was the first major snowstorm that Virginia had seen in a couple of years. And I'm a little Hispanic girl from the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, and I hadn't even seen snow until I was, you know, like in my 20s, like real snow.
yeah.
And I had to drive through that, and I was white knuckling it the whole time.
Oh my.
It was
Yeah.
so scary.
You just brought that resonated and brought back a situation we had. I won't go into it, but it was similar.
Yeah.
During PCS and running into a massive snowstorm. Oh, yeah, definitely. And you're following behind. It's like, and you know, for us, and maybe I don't know when, but it was like the cell phones. Like I'm dating myself, like
we're dating ourselves.
Yeah. So you're like just can't really communicate, and you're hoping you can still see, you know, like I can still see my husband in front.
Right. Those lights.
Like, okay, if he gets off at an exit, will I see? Like,
or can I make that turn in time with this truck?
Yeah, right. Without, yeah. Oh my gosh, how scary. The resiliency, right? All of the stories. I love talking to other military spouses when you can just kind of relax and laugh and talk about experiences. They are so unique to our community. It's not that others don't move and relocate. There's other occupations that do, but it's a career for us to move. Yes. We're career movers, right?
It's you get skills, don't you? You gain skills, and it's interesting. But every move is different. All the challenges are different. I remember sometimes getting to a new place, and he'd you know, check in with his command, and he's like, well, I'm going to be gone, you know, bye, see ya.
Yeah. Figure out where all the things. I know.
So, that was interesting.
Yeah. And our children get to watch that, and hopefully it builds resiliency in them, but it's hard on them too. It's hard.
Yeah.
On them. We talk about military kids being dandelions and all, but it's hard. So we do the best we can. And homeschooling, you know, for us has been a good thing in so many ways, definitely. But in living within the military community, it definitely allowed us to slow things down and speed them up when we needed to, and make those adjustments when we were moving constantly. And so it took away all of that angst about, okay, now we got to get them situated in school and all the things. And like we were school, right? The family, we did it. So, and for you, when you started homeschooling, what were some reasons that you looked into homeschooling and became a veteran homeschooler?
Oh goodness, Natalie, I'm going to confess here. You ready for a confession?
Yeah, I'm ready.
They dragged me into homeschooling kicking and screaming.
You were a kicker and screamer.
The kicker and the screamer.
That's right. I love it.
I thought homeschoolers were the weird blue jean jumper ladies, right? Not that I haven't worn a few, because I love those things, but no, but yeah, so I had my kids, and we were looking at doing K4, and I thought, well, only weird people homeschool. Mm-hmm. But I had a lovely neighbor, and Miss Mary, I'm not going to mention her last name, even though she's gone with the Lord now, but she said, Rita, you need to homeschool that child. I said, Mary, only crazy people homeschool. And so I tried. I guess I'm crazy now.
We're all crazy.
We're all crazy. I put her in school, and the Lord dealt with us, as I like to say, because while it was a sweet, sweet school, her needs weren't being met there. She had some, she wanted to read really badly. And I know a lot of moms can feel this for me. And she was in kindergarten, and I would read to her. We would go to our library, And we would get all these books out, we'd read them all, and then we'd go back. We had a book box before homeschooling. We had a book box. Everybody knows what I'm talking about who's homeschools. It's a box with an extendable handle and wheels.
Yes, I love it.
And I would take that to the library and I'd fill that thing up and I would read to her every night because we had made a commitment to do that.
Right.
And when she was ready to go to kindergarten, she's so excited to have this picture of her cute little face in front of her bulletin board. And she was so excited. And come to find out, she couldn't learn to read there. She was only in kindergarten. So they would bring down books, or preschool, actually. They'd bring down books from the kindergarten and dump them on her desk and then go work with the other students.
Wow.
And so that felt marginalizing for her. But of course, she couldn't express that. She was too small.
Mm-hmm.
And I volunteered there. It's about a 45-minute drive into the school and back. And I had my second born, who was, we'll probably get to him a little bit. But yeah, so I volunteered and I could see everything that was going on. And I saw her spirits decline. And I gave in to Miss Mary and I didn't know how. And I went to Miss Mary. I said, Miss Mary, what do I do? And she said, you need to get a phonics program. Mm-hmm. And that's how we started. Wow. But then, I tried again. I still had a lack of faith in my abilities because I felt like I am in the deep end here. I cannot do this. And this was in the early 2000s. And I just didn't know where to turn, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I didn't have anybody there to mentor me. Mm-hmm. And so I put my son in school.
Okay.
And of course, I said, I got to volunteer there. And by then I had a third one. And so I'd haul her with me.
Yeah.
And I was homeschooling my oldest at home. And so it was kind of chaotic. But I came in there one day and I saw him in line with a bunch of other students, little boys in one line, little girls in another. And they all had their arms around their chests. And I spoke to his sweet teacher and I said, what are they doing? And she said, oh, they're lined up to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
And I said that they had to have 12 inches between them and the next child in front of them. And they all had to have their arms like a little mummy on their chest.
Oh, okay.
And I looked at that and I said, well, doesn't that look like a prison line?
Yeah, right.
And I said, I don't want my child institutionalized as a pre-K, learning how to be institutionalized. Mm-hmm. Right? Some of these things are good habits. But that was really very regimented. Mm-hmm. And then they came to me because he had a severe asthma. Mm-hmm. And so he'd missed, kids come in there and they have, a little bit of fever or whatever. So mom or dad gives them a Tylenol and they send him to school. Mm-hmm. But, my son, he would get sick from that. And so he missed quite a bit of school. He'd go to the primary care and then he'd be sent to the specialty care. And then they'd have to recheck him at the primary care after his antibiotics were done. Mm-hmm. And he'd miss so much school. And they were always excused, but I got hauled into the principal's office.
Yes.
And she said, Rita, why is he missing so much school? And I said, well, he has asthma.
Okay. Yeah.
And they said, well, that's not acceptable.
Oh.
And at the end of the school term, they told him, we're not going to pass him on to first grade because he doesn't hold his pencil right. And I think maybe it had something to do with his asthma, but they wouldn't say that.
Okay.
And so then I had to go get OT. I didn't know what OT was.
Yeah.
But I had to go get OT. And he needed some speech intervention, speech therapy because of his asthma had led to a pretty bad stutter. This is a child I can talk about now because he does voice acting.
Wow, amazing.
So, and he's graduated. So
amazing.
But that was it. I didn't look back after that. I didn't even try with the third one. Thank God. He dealt, like I said, he dealt with me. He put people in my life. They're just nice people, but they're like telling me, this is not going to work. You're doing something wrong. And I knew I was doing the best I could. Right.
Right. Wow. I'm sure so many people that are listening later to our recording can resonate. I think everyone has such unique stories as to how they got into this homeschooling thing, right? That we're doing, this crazy life that we all love.
It is. I love it now.
Yeah. It's amazing, right? So, and everybody, needs a Miss Mary when you're doubtful. Everybody needs a Miss Mary. So I know she's, you said she's gone on to glory, but praise
Yes.
God, Miss Mary, right?
Oh, she was such a faithful soul, and she spoke up even when, I think that's needed now. So many of us don't want to, speak into people's lives, but,
Right.
sometimes there's a way to do it that's not bad, right?
Yeah.
It's not being nosy, and it's not putting your nose in where it doesn't belong,
Yeah.
however you want to term that. And she was such a dear friend, and she was a friend to all my children until she died. She wrote a letter to my youngest, and they were dear friends. So she was like a surrogate grandmother, and when she passed, we just all were so sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a need, and I'm so happy because homeschooling allows us, right, for my kids to make intergenerational friendships. Whereas if I had left them in school, and I understand that now, if I had left them in school, they would have just seen their age peers.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the reality. And I think a lot of families are seeing the benefit of homeschooling for that reason alone. There's plenty of other benefits, at least that we have seen. And I know that some of our listeners may be even thinking about homeschooling. So hopefully, this podcast and again, the other resources that we provide will encourage you that you are part of a larger community of amazing military families making it happen some kind of way, homeschooling through a lot of relocations and homeschooling through deployments and homeschooling through illnesses and homeschooling through, the washing machine overflows or something crazy.
Oh, that washing machine.
Yeah, the washing machine, right? Or your refrigerator
Dog.
breaks down, or it could be anything, but we're making it happen. So it's amazing. And so as you moved around and homeschooling, what has that been like, homeschooling at different installations and I mean you still have to adjust. Like I know a lot of families homeschool in the military, for the stability, but we are still having to readjust. It just looks differently.
Yeah, so I am so grateful that Miss Mary encouraged us to do that so many years ago, because our first big move to Virginia from Florida after we had children, moving back to Virginia, right?
Yeah.
And we had all these fundamentals in place. We had started homeschooling my oldest, and so I started to see resources out in the community, even Barnes and Noble, Costco, Sam's Club. We're starting to have simple curriculums, right? Because they were first grade, second grade.
Right.
You don't need full on curriculums. They
No.
need to learn how to write their numbers and their letters. And it was so much fun because as we moved, I began to understand what this is about. I could show them. We could stop at the history museums on the way, and we could stop at the science museum. So I think that first move back was a trip to the aquarium while our household goods went in front of us. And we stopped in Atlanta, and then I think, wherever we stayed, we tried to sit the historical markers. And so that was unofficial history class, unofficial civics class, unofficial social studies class.
Yeah.
And once we hit Virginia, we didn't look back. And we just, the boxes weren't even open, but I had some little curriculum with me. They don't need curriculum, right? So that could be just as simple as reading a book to them at night from the local library.
Right.
And they were such a resource in Virginia. I had the best library team, I'm going to tell you. So we lived near, that time it wasn't a joint base, it was just Langley. They have a library there that we frequented, and we also had a local library, and they were wonderful. And I found out that if you go to the reference area, they had a 3-ring binder full of all of the scope and sequence for the grades in the school district.
Yeah.
So you could open it up and see exactly what books they were reading and when they were reading them.
Yeah.
And we did that.
Right.
Wow. We did that. And then they offered little classes there. They offered, toddler classes for my youngest, and they offered older classes, and sometimes they had music classes and speakers and magicians, and of course, reading through the summer. And it was Virginia. So we hit all the places.
Yeah.
And if we got tired and it was a rough day and somebody just didn't do well on their math and they just were very discouraged, we just said, okay, well, that's it. Let's go do something else.
Yeah.
And got up there and did it. And then when Daddy came home from one of those unexpected things, one of his deployments, I'm not going to tell you on which platform, which ship, was 15 months.
Wow.
So I think they came home, if memory serves, they came home for a small season and then they went right back out.
Yeah.
So it's 15 months. And can you imagine? I had a little one and it was just like, I wondered if she was going to remember Daddy.
Yeah, right.
What is, so we had all the reintegration stuff with small children.
Yes.
And as I found out, we took them to the local public school and we had them tested because I was concerned about different things. I didn't know what autism looked like. I'd heard people ask me. So I'm going to go in there and check. And, that turned it out to be giftedness, which is his own can of worms.
Right.
And so when they can understand some things, they may not understand other things.
Exactly. Right.
So on the they may not understand the emotional side. They may understand something else. Isn't that hard to pick apart though? And so I didn't know. So it was all learning. But I'm so grateful. I had lots of people to speak into our lives that were just, God put them there, I'm sure, but they were wonderful people.
Yeah. Yeah. To encourage you and to answer questions and just to, help you figure out what this looks like. So was that, so yeah, go ahead, Rita.
Oh no. And I got plugged into my state organization. My goodness.
Yeah.
That was an eye opener.
Yes. And you were in Virginia at this point. So that would be, I would imagine there are 2 state organizations in Virginia, but the one that's been around the longest is Home Educators Association of Virginia. We can now call it HEAV. Again, Rita, I don't know if you realize that they allowed us now. They have said, please don't call us HEAV, call us HEAV. But I heard recently they went public with, you can call us HEAV. But yeah, so that's the state of it, right?
Yeah. And we found co-ops, beautiful things that allow us to, socialize with other homeschoolers during the day and make field trips together and start robotics teams together, which we did. And it's been a journey and one I never thought I would make. But if we hadn't taken those first steps, thanks to Miss Mary, we never would have had this adventure that we've been on. And it's made the difference in the stability in our family and our ability to get, interventional services like speech therapy and occupational therapy and visit his pulmonologist. He was registered as an EFMP because of that. And so those appointments, you have to wait 6 months to sometimes 12 months to get an appointment with a specialist. And so every move, I would be on the phone calling, making that appointment in advance.
Yes.
Move.
Right. As soon as you were confirmed, right?
Right.
Penciled in, and then you get the, oh no, it's for real. And and then you still sometimes have 2 days before, oh no, you're going somewhere else. But
oh yeah, that's happened. Well, we've landed. The boxes are still packed. And he walks in. I have to tell the story. So
tell the story.
The way I found out I was having my third, right? It was a total and complete surprise. My father had passed. There was a lot of chaos. My father had passed. We were in the midst of a PCS to Virginia, and I didn't feel right. So I took the test, right?
Right.
And found out he runs home. He's all excited, comes in, says, Rita, we're going to Bahrain. I said, Sean, no, we're not. Gave him the stick because there was no way I was going because I have a history of, needed a C-section with my first. And I was like, I don't think I could needed a C-section with my second. I said, I don't think I could do this, in Bahrain. So I'm sure I could, but so it was fun.
Wow. So where did you, so you continued on, where were you en route to when he came in and you had to show him the stick, right?
We just landed in Virginia again for the second time. I think this is the second time. Yeah.
Got it.
Not
Got
the
it.
third. Not the third.
Yeah, because you mentioned there were 3 times living in Virginia. Virginia's a big state, and there's just so many installations. I mean, we've lived. Is this our second? Yeah, this is our second time here, and we retired here. So, but yeah, the first one was like you. Well, not necessarily. I don't know if your first one, but the Hampton Roads area it was for you full time, right? So wow. There's so many things that you mentioned. Gosh, one of the things is when you have children that have special needs or giftedness or they're twice exceptional, the whole piece there is the therapies and the time that needs to be allocated for the therapies once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. It just depends on what, right? And so how was homeschooling with that? I'm thinking otherwise you would have had to, that just would have been a lot of work. Like, I mean, they can provide some in the school, but it just feels like homeschooling allows you to kind of flex your schedule to make those appointments a priority.
So some of those appointments were so hard to get, especially speech pathology and OT, right? And we sought those outside the system because in our case, in some of the places we've lived, TRICARE Prime does not offer doctors that have that are pediatric pulmonology. That they can't see him, right? So we changed. We had Prime at that time, and not Prime, excuse me. What did they call it at that time? I forget. It was like Champus or something. Anyway,
I think right.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And so, yeah. So if he had been in school, he would have been getting all those, those absences, even though they were excused. I almost said unexcused, but they were excused. Wouldn't have made anybody very happy and would have put him behind.
Right.
So sometimes I would, we took the appointments that were offered. They were usually in the middle of the day. Homeschooling allowed us to take those appointments where all the other parents were having to come in after hours.
Yes.
And so it'd start to fill up toward the end of the day or the early afternoon. And he could take the hours when the speech therapist was free or the pulmonologist was free. And so be real quiet and they could focus on him.
Yes.
And then later on, when my third came along and she needed vision therapy, we took that. I already learned this, that I could take the appointments that nobody else could take.
Yeah.
And also applies to amusement parks, by the way.
There's that.
There's that. So that was a huge help. But it was also difficult in the fact that my oldest had to bring her studies with her. So we would also be sitting in an observation room while he did his work. I'd be nursing one, and the other one would be doing copy work or something.
Copy work, right? Something.
Yeah,
I hear you.
I hear you.
Yeah, definitely. Our middle son, they get older. You tell this story, so hopefully, I think he's okay with this. But he had vision impairments. So I won't share his diagnosis, but try to respect his privacy. So, but having said that, so many times where we were at the time when it first occurred, it was at birth. So we were in Camp Pendleton, and so driving about an hour, just under an hour, maybe down to Balboa, in San Diego to the Naval Medical Center and appointments. And so I would pack everybody up and say, okay, everybody, bring your book bags because homeschool. We do have book bags, you all. So
yes.
We do buy book bags. So pack everything up and your whatever those fun things you want to occupy yourself. And we're going because we knew we were going to be there for a while, right? And
couldn't afford to eat out all the time. So you had to pack those lunches.
Pack the lunch and all. And then there was a little candy kiosk. And so sometimes I had a little extra I could treat everybody to get. Like you get, a little plastic bag and you go around and put your little
how fun.
Like we got it, not a lot because they weigh it. Yeah. You're spending an absorbent amount of money on candy, but I was like, okay, this is the little treat because it was such a long day. And that held them
the dentist
road trip back up to Camp Pendleton. So just amazing. But the time that we were able to spend together, I mean, I think that it was just incredible opportunity, right? Even in the midst of making those adjustments. It was so good. Yeah. Yeah.
We developed games that we would play, and they still remember them to this day. You know, my oldest one's 20, and they still remember these games. And ironically, a class she took, I think, in college had a similar game. Like we would make stories, and we'd have the first story. The first word of the story had to start with A. So the second word of the story had to start with B,
Okay.
and they all had to make sense. So they had
Yeah.
to do a noun, verb, object, noun, verb,
Yeah.
object. It all had to make sense. And they would be silly, and also they had to repeat it. So by the time we had 3 of them, you know, and it would go through the parents too.
Yeah.
So it stretched my memory skills. But
Yeah.
yeah, they had something like that in college. She's like, Mom, I already knew how to do that, you know. And I think my
Yeah.
third, they had her doing something like that in her vision therapy, and
Yeah.
so she remembered the game. But it was
Mhm.
yeah, just those core memories and that family building. And when he
Yeah.
came home, we had the ability to take off
Yeah.
and go to those amusement parks if, you know,
Yeah.
just spend some time together during that reintegration period and
Exactly. Exactly.
recover what family looks like. And, you know, a lot of times when he'd come home, that family dynamic would be different because the kids were older,
Right.
and his experiences and his new what's the word I'm looking for? His new normal,
Right.
right? Had
Right.
to adapt to our new normal.
Right.
And you would know this better than I, but that's a challenging hurdle, and sometimes you just need to have time off to do that.
Right. 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 Sometimes you just need the time off. And so again, benefit of homeschooling is that if they're not being homeschooled, they're in public school, like life has to keep going, like all the requirements, all the homework, all of the, like, you got to be at school this time, or this event's happening, or any of those, all those things are, your time is controlled otherwise. But with homeschooling, you can say, wow, okay, we need to reintegrate. We need some bonding time. We need to kind of reconnect as a family. And you can do that, right? You can do it. You're not trying to make it happen in the margin, right?
I like
So
that. Making
yeah,
it happen in the margin. That's so hard.
it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. So I wanted to talk about, if we're like having a good time, and there's so many topics still. The PSAT advocacy. You want
Okay.
to get into that?
You want to get into that? All right, we'll get into that.
Have to like dig into it again because because we are talking about it otherwise. But you want to dig into a little bit of Miss Rita Roberts, the advocate, you all. Like, if you haven't already picked up on it, like, she's such an advocate, and such an amazing person to say, okay, this can be fixed, and these are some of the solutions, and let's get it done. So you want to share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So thank you for that. That was very sweet of you to say. I always say, because we're told that, it's not the person coming into the situation. Sometimes God puts things in front of us, and then he prepares us to be able to do them, right?
Right.
So my second, we were at MacDill Air Force Base. My husband was the commander of JCSC there for a while. And so we were on MacDill proper, and about that time, my son became a junior in high school. And as you know, juniors in high school are eligible to take the PSAT and MSQT, which is the eligibility test to enter them in the National Merit Scholarship Award, right? And that is a scholarship that's kind of a signal. It's administered by the College Board. They also administer the ACT and the CLEP test and some others. But it is a test that gets you recognized and puts you in the pile for students are eligible for the National Merit Scholarship Award, which is very large. It can pay for your entire college, and it gets the attention of some top tier 1 schools that if you have intention of going to college instead of seeking trade school, and he did, he wanted to go on and do computer science and become an attorney, and so that was in his future. So we really wanted to look at scholarship options, and that was the way to do it.
Right.
Now, I found out that they went, I believe it's in 2023, they started transferring over to digital format. And so Hillsborough County decided that they just needed to have their brick and mortar students take that test. And so for the longest time, their homeschool webpage, where you can click the button to sign up for a seat, would not let you do that. It would just say, come back later, check here, come back later. And so I did not know what to do. And I reached out to Hillsborough County. I reached out to our SLO, our school liaison officer, Dr. Venetia Waters. Love her.
Shout out Dr. Waters.
Hope you're listening.
Yeah.
She's such a lovely person. And it took us 6 months, Dr. Waters and myself, and calling the school district. And eventually it went up to Governor DeSantis's office. He had a call in line, and there is a mandate in the law for the Bright Future Scholarship that a way to make sure that your child is meeting expectations in the state of Florida is if they take in high school the SAT or the PCT. That would be evidence of progress, proof of progress for that year. So I called up Governor DeSantis' office and I said, look, we can't even take this because they're not allowing us a seat. I got a call back within a half an hour from Hillsborough County. Wow. And I think a lot of that was also due to pushing on Dr. Waters' end as well. She had been calling people. So they finally returned, but I got told point blank, our priority, I'm not giving any names, I'm not getting in trouble, but I have it in the notes.
Yeah.
I have my receipts.
Yeah.
He said, our priority is a brick and mortar student.
Yeah. Right.
Now remember, they have virtual schoolers in Hillsborough County. Right? These are students that may be taking cancer treatments, or their accommodations cannot be, for whatever reason, they can't go to school. They may have been told they needed to stay home, but maybe their parents chose that because of whatever reason. This is how they're homeschooling, they're virtual schooling. They were also not allowed to take the PSAT. So all these kids are disenfranchised. So when that finally broke, because they have school IDs, they said, well, we can't give them a sign-in because they don't have a student ID. I said, they do have a student ID because when you register as a homeschool student in the county of Hillsborough or anywhere in the state of Florida, they issue you a school ID to track your progress. Wow. So that when you submit your app, you're going to homeschool, track it using that number.
Okay, got you.
So they had no leg to stand on. So that day that we took it, we registered him.
Yeah.
And I waited in the parking lot. That parking lot and the lawn filled up.
Oh, wow.
So many students arrived.
Oh.
Some had, face coverings on. I think there was a young lady in like a burqa or something, full face covering and everything. And then there were other students, and just this diverse group of people showed up, and it was just exciting. It was so exciting.
And here you are, like you and Dr. Waters, and just were like, we did this, right?
Yes.
We did this for the community, for the homeschool community. We made this happen.
And she has she calls it the MacDill Council of Educational Excellence, I believe it is. Okay. Dr. Waters, don't kill me if I got that wrong. But, parents have the opportunity, including homeschool parents at MacDill, to participate in that, where leaders from all the different sections, including special education and all the different schools, come in, the superintendent, they come in and they sit. And a couple of these are actually held on the installation. Wow. And so homeschooling parents of students in the district can come and they can ask their questions, And I think so often this is underattended, but this is where you get your voice heard, right?
Right. Showing up, right? If you don't show up,
90% of it.
Yeah. Showing up. Yeah, showing up. So show up, homeschoolers. Invest in your community for the 2 or 3 years you're there. Make sure you bloom where you are planted, even if it's temporary.
How many of us want to keep our heads down, especially some of our services? You know what I'm talking about. Some of our services are like, we have too much to deal with. My husband or my wife has too much to deal with. My partner has too much to deal with. And doing the best we can, we're just going to keep our heads down. But I encourage you, if you have any extra strength or energy, all you have to do is show up. Just listen. Yeah,
do the best you can. Show up, right?
Yeah.
But I love that. Well,
there's an amazing group of individuals there. I'm just so proud of them, and the hands-on, can-do attitude of the homeschool parent, and also the mill-connected homeschool parent. Just the can-do attitude. It's like, okay, we've got these challenges. Let's figure it out.
I love it.
As you say, let's get it done.
Yeah, let's get it done. So this has been amazing. I really, really appreciate you, Rita, coming on. We've had a great conversation.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time and all that you offer to Military Homeschoolers Association. I am honored and humbled to be with you and other people that serve on our board. Like, yeah, I get teary-eyed about that, so I'm not going to go
Great group of people. Everybody on that board. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, everyone is just so amazing. So, yeah, thank you all for watching our segment here, our episode here. Please make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, that you click that bell, which is supposed to notify you that there is a new episode. We are available as well on Facebook, Military Homeschoolers Association. We are on Instagram, same name. Where else are we? I think we're on now. LinkedIn, right? Keisha, our social media is saying LinkedIn. Don't forget. Yeah, so we're on LinkedIn, and then just and we also have a newsletter. So we would love for you to consider subscribing to become a member. So
yeah, I can't get information out to them unless you subscribe to the newsletter. You're not going to find out about those lovely discounts I've been working on for months.
That's right. That's right. It's in the newsletter. So definitely go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, okay? And the amazing partnerships that are there as well. So we could go on and on, but I appreciate you so much. Thank you all for watching, and tune in for the next episode of Base to Base Military Homeschooling.